Randy Maxwell,
Here.
Lauren Neese, Carl Thompson.
Here.
Melinda Jones. Here. Brian Moyer. Here. Dean Esther. Here. Bob Hahn.
Here.
Jennifer McLean.
Here.
Jim Wood.
Here.
Could everyone please stand for the pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Kenzie, you want to give your report?
Of course. My name is Kenzie Call. I am NAM Student Council President. And not as much has happened this month, but I'm proud to present that we do have a lot of projects actually going on. We are working on the idea of bringing recess back, or to put it in better words, time spent outside at least once during the school day to improve our learning. That will also be discussed during the meeting that we have had at the beginning. So far, the first week of September, we have had a meeting with the whole student council. We've had a lot of members show up to that. We've had about 50 members. We already have all that covered. We have decided to stick with just dance committee, fundraising committee, and school store committee. We're having a lot of new supplies added to the school store, such as pencils, notebooks, fidget spinners, maybe, etc. Just to give, let's just say if the student does not have a notebook that day, they're willing to get one there. I'm working on having a new intro every day for the announcements to get the student spirits up and running for the first few moments of the learning school day that we're journeying into the schooling moment of that day. We're having the idea of having a suggestion box because not all of the student council is about just the student council, it's all about the body. And we're making the school a better place, and all the students are also involved with that. So suggestion box will be up there soon. That's what I have so far. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Sounds like the middle school is on their way to be a better place. It's a good place already, but it's always room for, suggestions, so thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask the board if they have any board acknowledgements.
I heard the call today, they golfed in the rain. 9 holes.
I think Kevin and Zach are good, doing very well.
So, yeah, so he came home soaked, but I don't really know so much going on.
Oh, hockey team?
Oh, yeah, hockey, they won today, so yeah.
They play in the rain.
Playing in the rain, yes.
Rain Warriors.
Yeah.
80s at don't call games.
That's right, we're playing.
There is no room.
Yeah, there's no room for,
Girls soccer is 3-0.
wow.
Number 3 in the
Yeah,
power
that's right.
rankings. I took a picture of it because,
I don't know how long it'll last, but it's there.
And beat Cologne for the first time in 6 years.
Yeah,
I think that was reported in your paper.
I think so.
So congratulations, thank you to your paper.
Yeah, they were excited.
Mars big with it.
Mars,
Big with it, I think.
at whom?
Yeah.
At
We'll see. Mars field for 1 more day.
Good. Any other board acknowledgements? Good. So far, I hear everything is up and running and good, so that's always a pleasant note, and students are doing well in school, so it's great.
Oh, I went to, I never used to go to the away football games, but now I take my daughter, so, I didn't realize how many Littlestown fans are willing to drive. Like, we went to Eastern, and then last week we were to Catholic.
recognize the FFA. We've had them in before, and we're always amazed at the work that these youngsters do under the supervision of Mr. Brandt. So, Mr. Brandt, would you like to present the FFA to the board and your presentation about nationals?
Sure. Come on, guys. Well, today we have 3 of our 5 students that are going with us in October to the National FFA Convention. This is a team they completed at the state competition back in June. And these were members of our forestry team. Some were competing for the first time there, some were competing for the second time there. There was a total of 10 teams there, and after all the math got done, they had the highest total, so they now qualify to go into the national competition to represent the state of Pennsylvania. So we have 3 members here. J.R. Rollins, he's a sophomore now, and he took what place, J.R.?
16.
We have Austin Golden here, and he's also a sophomore, and he took, we have Billy Brown here. How did you do? He took 4th place. And we also have 2 other members, Josh King took,
He took 5th place, and then Jeremiah Kings took 1st place out of Edwin, or Edwin at the competition.
and we also earned $100 for that. So there was a total of 47 different students there in the contest, so it was a bit of a contest than what it normally was, but I was very proud of the team and how they did. So we've been practicing 2 days a week since the beginning of the school year, getting ready to go to the trip. So we're gonna keep practicing up through October, and we'll leave on a Tuesday, go out and compete, and we'll be back on a Saturday night. So that's the game plan with our national trip next month. So hopefully we have good results to share with you for your November meeting.
Good luck to you.
Congratulations. One more thing that I'm gonna announce, we're gonna try something on Friday. Here is the first time ever. We're gonna have a corn day here for the whole school. So our FFA students been helping out with our cornfield project, and we've been donating some corn, we've been selling some corn. I figured what better way to try to share it with the whole school district rather than people outside the school district this year. So we're trying to get more community involvement. So we're gonna be going after school and picking 100 dozen, then we'll be getting it ready for cooking on Friday morning, and we'll turn it over to the food department to have it cooked for us. And our goal is everyone in the school district, whether they buy lunch or don't buy lunch, will be able to get free or corn compliments of that taste. If we share our project with everyone in the school, students, teachers, and we've been trying to share with community members by giving you some last meeting. And today, 2 weeks ago, we sold to the community. We put it up on Facebook for less than 24 hours. We sold over 200 dozen in 24 hours, so that turned out very well. And we learned how powerful social media can be. That project, you had to take the.
It's the largest number of hits and likes, it's 10,000. The one before that, I think, was Graduation Walk at Rolling Acres, was the second highest, but he by far beat that.
So this should be picking this week should be our last, so if you want any corn, let us know by Friday, so we can get this taken care of. All right?
Jesse, what time are you starting to shuck corn on Friday morning?
Probably be 7:45 first period, so we're gonna do first period. If you don't finish, we'll finish up 3rd period,
Okay.
and we'll transfer.
We're gonna be in the
ag shop.
ag shop.
Then we'll transport it to the food service, I guess, in the school. So this is the first time through it. There could be some learning curve, but I figure this year we'll start this point, and maybe next year we'll try to incorporate some learning and teaching into the project as well. So there's possibility to expand the project if it turns out well.
How many years have you
Not as many as we did last year, and part of this, the weather, the past couple of weeks has been making it hard to get picked, so sometimes things need to get picked, and this didn't happen because of the timing. I see the local raccoons and deer having feasts too in the fields, so we're sharing with them, but I'm sure we're over 400 dozen right now. So,
Yes.
Fantastic.
And so, any board member that is available, Friday morning. Join in on the shucking and being with the kids and enjoying the time and having the FFA. I appreciate it. Jesse, fantastic. I mean, I as a board member, and I know I share this with the board, so appreciate all that FFA does for our school district and all the wonderful things they do in our district and outside our district to promote future farmers of America. That is absolutely fantastic.
I think it's great that you gave us the opportunity just to make use of the field rather than just have to grow up in weeds. I mean, we made a suggestion a couple of years ago and that didn't happen, so we're able to have these opportunities, go on these trips, because without your support, we wouldn't be able to do things that we're doing either, so we appreciate your support.
Any other board member wish to say anything to Jesse and the group? You want to say something?
Where are you going?
Indianapolis, that's where the national competition, each state can send one team there, so there's usually about 35, 40 teams on every state sends. And one of our tours we're gonna do afterwards, we're gonna go visit a big dairy farm in the northwestern part of the state that has 30,000 dairy cows. So, we're gonna try to make it a learning experience along with it. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do the Garth Brooks concert. That's the night day of the competition, so we'll do that, so.
Speedway's always out there, you can tour that.
We did that before, so.
Mr. Brina, tell us about the contest. What will the team be doing on there? What does that involve?
Well, I'll let Bill, go ahead, we'll let you tell them all what you have to do.
So, the forestry event, consists of a written exam, which is usually 50 questions. And, I don't really think you have a time limit on that, you might, I don't know. And then you have, tree ID, and then you have, what we call timber cruising, which is you take the DBH of the trees and the merchantable heights, and you have a chart, and you figure out the, consumable, volume of the trees, and then you add them all up, and then get a total board footage of the acre, or however much you do. And then, you have tool ID, and then you have a whole bunch of practicums, and the practicums are, like, such as like chainsaw parts, mapping, diseases, anything you can really think of. And then we also have a team activity, which is given to, at random each year. So we don't exactly know what we're gonna get, but we're hoping it's something easy.
What did you get last year?
For the team activity, we had, for states, it was, it's like a whole bunch of things put together. We had pacing, we had chainsaw parts, we had, types of wood, and then we had a little bit of, tree ID along with like what the tree's use and stuff is for, so.
And then we'll also have to do a team presentation, 10 minutes to get ready for that, and make a 5-minute presentation for one of the speaking skills, so it's pretty encompassing. And a lot of your practicums, there are 8 different categories to get to, and you don't know which 2 you're gonna get, so you have to study for everything. You get 2, so that's kind of surprising once you get there to figure out what you have to do.
Very rigorous, so.
Unbelievable.
Just, Jesse, real quick rundown of the past teams that have gone and placed and done
We
well.
had students before, we had 2 teams compete in environmental and natural resources. We had last year an agronomy team, and this is our third or fourth state winning forestry team. We had 2 individuals win dairy championship in the past, so fairly lucky to get to go on these trips. Not every school makes these trips as often as what we do. So it's a good learning experience, but it's also challenging getting ready for everything, so we get to put the work in, so.
Thank you for putting all the work in.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good job. Good job.
Now I'm going to turn the mic over to Mr. Bigger.
Yeah, Sandy couldn't be here tonight. She's has some family, dad has some health issues. It's not looking good, so she couldn't be here. She won't be here all week. I wanted to recognize her for her 12 years of service to the district. When you look around, she has helped hire the majority of the people in the last 12 years, and she's been through thick and thin and struggled, so we wanted to recognize her, give her a plane as a resigning and an administrator. Hopefully she'll put it right on her desk over in Trojan area in York Suburban. And we wish her well. We hope she does really well over there. We're excited for her, and it's a loss, but we'll certainly try to replace her. So thanks to her when she gets back.
Thank you. Yes, I think all of us will miss Sandy. Done a good job for the district. There's no public participation, so I'd like to, a motion to accept the work session meeting of September 10th, Flower. Motion? Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The regular board meeting of August 20th, a motion? Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Finance and Budget Committee, no report.
Under the treasurer's report, you will find item A, building budget, B, general fund, C, encumbrance, D, activity, E, cafeteria, and F, cafeteria negative balance report. If there's no questions, I have my report.
Okay, in Lauren's absence, Melinda's going to give the personnel.
If anyone has questions on items A through J, please request it to be pulled.
Yes, I do. I need to abstain from H. My wife is included.
Any others? Okay, so recommend approval of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I, J.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval for the extracurricular supplemental positions for 2018 school year.
I have a motion on the floor to accept the extracurricular supplemental positions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention.
Here's a break down the table.
Here's a penalty for our things.
Motion carries.
End of report.
Okay, I'd like to approve, property supply would like to recommend approval of the 2018-2019 capital projects additions list. That's it.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And items B and C, transportation and report, knowledge report, are noted. End of report.
Okay, under curriculum, co-curriculum, and policy committee report, there's quite a few. Does anyone want anything pulled? Okay. So recommend approval for A through G under curriculum and policy.
I have a motion on the floor to approve A through G under curriculum and policy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And
The PSBA report is the annual vote on membership of the board, of the officers and trustees of the board. The slate of officers presented was the president position and the vice president for the vice president position, and 3 candidates for 3 open slots on the thing. So, if nobody has any write-ins to present for those positions, I move that the board approve those. No, thanks. If the board approve those positions for the PSBA officers and trustees.
I have a motion on the board to approve the 2 candidates listed. Do I have a second? Second. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
End of report?
No. You have another one?
Oh, I have not, I didn't.
Oh,
I
we
did
can
them
vote?
together.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you can vote it together.
No, I'm not. School safety report, Brian, anything to?
I would, for, Mr. Baker and, if you should see, if you'd like to speak.
I'll do it under my superintendent report, if that's okay.
Is that her here?
Yep.
The Thunderbolt Foundation report. I didn't see her name. Kind of sneaked in.
Good evening. So I have a few things to report to you. One of the big things coming up for the foundation is the 2018 Adams County Foundation Giving Spree, which is going to be taking place on Thursday, November 8th, from 4 to 7 at the Gettysburg Middle School. This year, the foundation has 2 opportunities to be in two stretch pools, which is a good thing. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Adams County Foundation Giving Spree, but what they do, it's open to any nonprofits in Adams County. And it's a really neat event because members of the community can go, it's like one-stop shopping for nonprofits. And the nonprofits get to set up a table and have information, and then people that are looking to contribute can walk around, and at the end of the night, they can fill out and they can give contributions to any of the nonprofits that are there. They do have 2 stretch pools, as I said, and we are part of both stretch pools. So the first one is a $25,000 stretch pool that anybody that makes contributions on that day, they will take their contributions that come in for us specifically, and then they will prorate it with all, and there's about 75 nonprofits that will be there, and we will get a portion of that money based upon donations that come in. The second stretch pool that we are part of, it's a $10,000 stretch pool, but we are one of 10 organizations that are part of that stretch pool. So odds are a little bit better for that one. And the nice thing about that one is it goes straight to the endowment to grow for the future. So we are looking for community members to go on that day and to visit and stop by and make contributions because there are very strict guidelines. All checks have to be dated for that day. They will have online opportunities that you can go online and you can make contributions. So I'm going to be doing a letter campaign out targeting some donations to come in at that time. So you'll hear more information about that because they're on my list. So I'm hoping that we get a lot of people in the community because this is a really good opportunity. And it also helps spread the word of who we are. That's one of the really nice things is when you go there, it's all of Adams County. So we have Upper Adams School District, River Union, and all the nonprofits that serve our kids are all there. So it's a wonderful event. I visited it before and done my one-stop shopping, and I think it's a great opportunity. So that's a big thing coming up for us. We're doing the Lincoln for Lincoln campaign again with the faculty. That's wrapping up this week. And it seems like we're getting more contributions than we did before. So we'll see what the faculty comes up with this year for that. I did a retired letter writing campaign this summer to a lot of our faculty that have retired, and we've been getting some really nice gifts in from them to support what's going on here, and some letters have also gone out to some different companies and businesses that are STEM related. We are working with the Alumni Association, trying to work on helping them build up their membership because they're really still struggling with that. So an event is going on this year during homecoming, and we're trying to bring alumni back to the homecoming event. So they're going to be setting up a big tent And because we have an agreement that we will share information. So it will be good for us also, because your alumni, your foundation's only as good as your alumni foundation, base is going to be. So that's why we're working closely with them, trying to get that established. Planning for the golf tournament is beginning, because that will be here before we know it, so we'll be working on that. And I'm still waiting to hear back on a grant that I wrote for community aid for the high school, for a program that would help students in guidance and finding employment, soft skills for the workplace and interviewing process for them. So my fingers crossed that we get that grant. We're still waiting to hear back from that either way. Any questions?
Comments or questions? Yeah, from the board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks to Chris, you all have a nice copy of the Adams Tech program, our number of students that we have, and our years, if you've noted, you can notice our enrollment is getting a lot better, a lot more. Unfortunately, while the program has been getting better, we're going to lose Frank on October the 12th. Not sure how that's gonna affect things, Chris might have to elaborate on that. The gentleman, if you remember, we had originally way back 3.5 years ago or 2 years ago, that had the Skype phone session with, that started this whole ball of wax falling down the hill, or whatever you want to say. He's going on to someplace closer to home life here. So that's gonna be interesting. We hired a consultant to take the rest of this over the hill with a little bit past our, I think all of our expertise, or something a little more in tune with the situation. His name is Clyde Hornberger. He's a retired director at Lehigh Tech Career and Tech Institute. I'm not exactly sure where that is or what that is, but that's, and his price is relatively reasonable compared to the other ones. So he's starting, and according to my sources, he's gonna help us replace Frank. Is that my sources, the ID?
Correct.
So, well, very interesting to see what happens with all this going on, so. That's the end of that, unless Chris has anything to add.
Sort of question?
Carl, this sheet, does this include, the programs at Carroll?
No, this is totally Adams,
Okay,
Adam,
okay.
yeah, Eddie Burke.
How many do we have in the other programs?
6.
I think 3/4. I'm looking back, Dr. Meekin, to confirm the fourth one, or was it 3?
Oh, County?
Yeah.
3.
3.
So we have 218 students then.
No.
No, that's.
No, 41 plus.
41.
Oh.
We have 40.
45 total students.
Okay, 41. So we have 41. Okay.
Yeah, if you really get into that, you can start asking questions. Dr. Meekin has a bunch of kids going to hack for dual enrollment this year, internships, job shadowing. I think the lid has opened up in the high school beyond 11th and 12th grade, so there's a lot of opportunities for students beyond just the career tech opportunities. So if you want to hear numbers and other programs, we can certainly provide those for you.
That would be nice.
We're reaching those goals in both directions.
I hear there's quite a few that have gone to hack this year.
And what about I know the senior class seems smaller than the year past, so if the numbers are going up, I mean, I don't know.
Percent-wise.
Percent-wise, I think that's.
And everything I hear, that talking to several parents, the trade industry, if you ever watch This Old House, all they ever say is, we need people, we need people, we need people, we need people, and they're not getting it. And they can make a good living at it, according to what, what they do it, so. If nothing else, I never report.
Yeah, we had a really good start. This was my third start here in Littlestown. Compared to last year with opening a building, it was a nice start. With transportation as a major change, everything else went very well. I think I'll speak to the principals in that. The opening was smooth. I think everyone knows where we're going and what we're doing, and it just felt better this year. There was an in-service day today, and walking around, high engagement, lots of participation. I think just nice knowing where we're headed. We did have Sapphire, a major software implementation that touches every single employee in some way, shape, or form. And everyone says the software is wonderful once we learn how to use it. So they're all learning how to use it, and it surprisingly takes more time than you think. In some conversations with principals, they feel as if they're behind in some things because they're spending a lot more time figuring out the software. However, when I ask for something of information, I get it like in 2 minutes, like a schedule of all the teachers with numbers of classes and kids in each class. I had it emailed to me in 5 minutes from both administrators. So that's something that would have taken a lot longer of time with any old MMS system. So we're very proud of the start of the year. I think people understand the balance between the academic improvements, the technology improvements, and the building infrastructure improvements. When you think of those 3 big buckets where we've been spending our money and our time and our resources, they're fairly balanced, and I think that's a credit to this board. Projecting ahead to the end of this year, we'll do a survey of the staff, community, and students at large. It'll be the 3rd survey to compare trends from 15, 17, and 19. So we'll stick to that promise of that survey to see how we're doing with trends from perceptions from the community. I'm excited about the next 2 years, and I mentioned this to staff at the opening day in service. Nothing new from the district office, just deepen the strategies we already have in place. We have lots of work to do yet to make things great, and really master the strategies we've deployed and implemented in the last couple of years. So you're not going to hear a lot of new stuff from the district office. That doesn't mean things aren't happening, it just won't sound as exciting. A lot of the staff we've hired, from mental health counselors to school resource officer, safety officer coming later in the agenda, to all the technology, has been a lot in a short period of time. We need to see those strategies through so that we make sure we do them well, give you data to support the strategies or not, and reevaluate as we move ahead. So the next 2 years will be deepening of strategy. That's all I have for our report.
Thank you, Chris. Sounds like we're moving forward, and that's what we want to do as a board. All right.
In the form of motion, recommend approval of items 12A through 12G.
Motion on the floor to approve items 12A through 12E. Second. Discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
There is no board check report. So further questions?
Good. Everybody can certainly take note of the technology and the maintenance and the monthly enrollment report. If there's any questions, let me know. New business. May I have a motion to recommend the approval of the agreement with G-Force Investigations LLC? Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
I actually have a question. Chris, I saw through the, borough website that they took their, bid off the table, saying that we no longer wanted a security officer, but wanted a security guard.
No, they were too expensive.
So-
He put a proposal in, it was just really expensive.
Oh, so they did end up because, okay.
Yeah, they sent, we had 3 proposals, one from the chief of police here, one from G-Force, and INA out of Harrisburg. Don't ask me what INA stands for. And we had 3.
Talk to Mike, we can technically grant this now, maybe, as part of grants, if I'm reading correctly?
You mean, yeah, we'll be able to apply this contract to the grants monies that are out there from the state, correct? But yeah, they also, we have 3 proposals.
And then they're going to be doing training and.
Yeah, they'll do training of staff and some students. They'll look at our audits from our building risk assessments and implement the recommendations there. They'll also be here on a daily basis with day-to-day security. So we've identified from the safety committee much of the improvement efforts that we're going to make this year. So we have an entrance system they have to implement starting in January, the visitor scan and check system. So they'll be busy. They'll be very busy. We have to help the principals with building safety drills. So rather than a fire drill every month, we're going to substitute safety drills. which does create some disruption in the school because you're teaching kids how to do some of those. I think, Brian, you said last year, you wish you would have known we were having one, but it was a good conversation at home with your kids. So there's a lot for this person to do.
I was gonna say, is this person gonna just in public, gonna be here like all the time, like?
Yeah,
if it's-
7.5 hours a day,
Okay.
196 days. So that'll be all the student days and then 10 additional days in the summer.
Any other questions from the board?
Actually, one, are we having any water issues? Cause we had a couple people come to me.
Oh, wait a minute, wait.
I'm sorry, on that one. Sorry,
Yeah, we have-
apologize.
On this.
I'll wait for you to vote on that.
I'm sorry. I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now,
Okay,
Melissa.
now, sorry about that. Are schools okay with the water? Because I know other schools have had problems with it being so wet, mold, water issues. How are our schools? I wanted to hear from you and,
Yeah, someone asked Victor to help me out here. I think we got a lesson, and we're having more lessons coming in the next month or so about whether to turn the air conditioning on in the summer or leave them off. We had some mildew start, but we remediated right away. Caught it really early, and I want to thank Victor and his crew for catching things really early, as well as staff who came in early. But we test air quality in the fall, right before school starts, every year, and I think we're gonna up that to the second test here, just to make sure. And we learned a lot from Fairfield having their issues, and we asked a lot more questions. But overall, I think our numbers, and there are numbers associated with air quality, and Victor and I were talking, we should probably ask Randy to do some research, because you love safety and you have interns. And you did a fantastic job with the field trip, and got us great information, and we're learning this air quality and water issue, so we're learning. But I would say our buildings are pretty solid. We have a few worry areas, but we always have a few worry areas.
right.
So yeah, so Victor, I don't know if you want to add any more to it.
No, it's, keeping track of everything that we currently have, monitoring, any possible areas that have been bad in the past. Certainly, all the rain we've had has been an issue, we've had some roof leaks here and there, but it's monitoring and keeping up with it, replacing the ceiling tile, getting the areas replaced, repaired as soon as we find out. But overall, it's been pretty good compared to what everybody's had. Our numbers are pretty good, really.
I was surprised that the quality of the air this summer was at its best. It was very good quality air according to reports. That was new learning. I thought this summer would have been bad air quality. They said the air quality is actually better when it's moist. There are less spores. However, you're bringing humidity in, which causes your problems depending on the air conditioning system you have. So buildings that didn't have air conditioning systems were pretty much scot-free unless you had water in there. But if you run your air conditioning, you're bringing humid air in, which we have a similar system to Fairfield here, part of Alley Creek. And that's where I think Victor was on top of that, especially since we heard of Fairfield's issue. That did help us go explore a little bit more.
Well, thank you for that answer. And then also, I think this I'll direct this to you, Dr. Toller, Wi-Fi, there seems to be, I've had students complain about not being able to get on. What's their alternatives, especially if they have AP classes that are supposed to be done online? I don't know what, are we correcting that issue, or where are we at with that?
So the whole Wi-Fi system is new, everything was replaced this summer, that was one of the big projects that we did. So we're still tweaking and trying to make adjustments there. We did, have another issue, and we got some advice on what we need to do to correct that, so we'll be making some adjustments, probably taking an old switch offline. Some of our equipment is aging, so we need to get it out of the loop. But I would say it's a daily tweaking of the department and working between the Wi-Fi and the emergency filtering system has also been causing us an issue. So between the two things, the daily.
So what do we recommend to like some of the high school students and maybe their parents, for those that actually are taking classes online that can't get online?
Accessing should not be an issue. LASD Wi-Fi is the network that they use to get on
will say I was in the school, having lunch with one of my friends, and, Corey and Gabby were walking around to all the, different classrooms and stuff like that, just making sure that every single thing was up and running, and, you know, they had been doing that all day, just talking to every teacher and stuff like that, so I think they might know that there are some issues here and there, some little ones, but I know they're trying to talk to all the teachers and get it solved.
We use wireless to administer all the math testing and the CBC testing. So that's been happening. I know it's not.
No, I didn't say it was down all the time, I just know that it's been down.
I have, hold on, I have a question. I thought you were ready. Sorry. Awesome. Sorry. What about, is there an update on the in-town busing and
I could update on that, I would live in that one every day.
Right.
Lots of compliments overall, we worked out the bumps and bruises, and we did send Lori out to each of the stops, and she said under 10 kids are crossing the main road when she was out there. Seems to be things have smoothed out. They still are full, and we do have some issues with parent supervision at the bus stop, because there's a number of kids, and they're running out in the street, so I have received a few phone calls. I think in Brian's estimation, next year he's gonna design the routes for in-town a little differently than he is now. We're talking about a mid-year change, and we're analyzing whether we should or shouldn't do that. So right now, he has a bus and some buses coming back, picking up kids at different stops. He's thinking he can send one bus out twice, do an early drop-off, go get them and drop them off at 7:15, and take a second run to keep the bus numbers down. Right now, they're very full, there's 70-plus kids. So it's busy, it's good, it's being utilized, so that's a great problem. The latest conflict we have right now is with the early band kids and youth chorus kids here at ACES. There are 120-plus kids, which is a very, very high number. They came at the worst time because the buses are full. We're tight. I mean, it is tight. So we're exploring if we need to add a run or not based on those numbers. So, Carl.
And want to piggyback onto that, and Chris, it's my understanding that we purchased 3 new video cameras for the buses, students, driver, and then the running the bus. And call me Larry. The bus drivers that have them are really excited because they are very friendly. And one of them, I think, is even on the in-school run. And because the students aren't familiar with proper etiquette for crossing the school bus, they just scramble every which way, and the bus driver kind of loses count of 50 kids when they all get off the bus. So he says they're really great for helping him. So kudos to him for that. So.
Any other specific questions on the in-town run that can come up? 140 students about.
That's great. I was just, I didn't know how do you get parents to realize that they want to walk to make sure their kids go to the traffic light? I mean, I know you can't police that, but.
Well, just like there was a young girl, probably 3rd grade, walking back from ACES this morning, came to school. You know, so I did stop and talk to her, and we had a good conversation about school today. So there's only so much you can do, I think.
Any other comments from the board? Questions?
I have a question, and regarding when we have someone who brings a concern during public participation, and it's something that we need to look into, or, we don't have all the information they need, or someone from the administrative staff is going to address them. And I think this is just, it goes along with improving communication. Is there a way for the board to receive just a brief note as to how the situation was addressed with, whether it was a phone call, whether it was an email, that sort of thing, just so we know that the situation was addressed and its resolution, so that someone will come and say to us, well, this person spoke at a board meeting, and they said they were gonna get back to, do you know what happened, and I don't, and I'm, you know, so if there is a way, you know, we don't need to know the specifics, and obviously if it's a personal matter that we're not to be privy to, just some way saying, we reached out to this person in this manner, and this is, you know, it was resolved. Just
Is
so.
there a specific example, or are you just setting up for the future?
I just have been hearing from people that have said they feel like they've come to the meeting and then it's never addressed. And I can't refute that, I can't say, well, yes, it is, or no, it isn't, because I don't know. And I would like to be able to say to these, you know, to that person, well, I believe this was the you know, that they, and also, say it's something that like one person brings, but there are 15 other people sitting here, or, you know, is there a way that we can look at issues of concern that are brought, that might be a teachable moment for the whole community, that would be something that, even though it's not, hey, soccer schedules have changed this week, or, you know, I know we put a lot of different things on our Facebook, but there are things that people, I think, bring up here in meetings to us, that the community could benefit from the answer, or and maybe just say, like a did you know, or like Dee does with us, you know, things I know, just information we can put out into the community, that this was recently brought up at a school board meeting, and maybe the public isn't aware of it, so it's a moment for us to educate the public as to, so that not just the person we got back to knows what the resolution is, but maybe it's something that other people have wondered and never known, and we could do it as one of those Facebook posts or social media type thing. You know, I'm not saying a letter has to go out to every person, but I think people use a lot of social media a lot more than we give them credit for, and I think we could do a better job, or we could be a little bit more active perhaps on disseminating information other than a schedule change, or the lunch prices have gone up, or, you know, just general information. There are things that, you know, and we could even have like I don't know, it's just something that I've been thinking about, because I run the social media for where I work, and I know that I'll send like a private message to a customer, and I think, you know, I bet other customers would wonder this very same thing. And then I create a post. So I just think it improves our communication. Any way that we can improve the communication, to me, is a win-win for everybody.
And I agree with you. I think Chris probably went over and above last year with all of his little meeting sites that he was doing, trying to get information out. I think the 3 minutes of Thunderbolt News tries to get something out.
I
So
agree.
if a board member has something specific, please call Chris and just say, hey, can you send this out in some form or something like that? So if we can have a specific thing that you want addressed, please contact Chris, so it's not so vague. But I do think, as a board, we try to make things as with the community.
Right.
And
I actually
know-
had a few examples that I had noted, but I left my note.
That's all right.
home,
If you
so
call
I
Chris
apologize.
or myself or Randy and just express, hey, you know, what do you think about this? Or then we can bring it to the board, or we can, you know, it's Chris's decision.
Right, and I just think, you know, sometimes you sit out there, and even if we address a problem with a specific person, you go home as an observer and you think, well, I wonder how they're gonna resolve that. And it might be something that a lot of people want to, you know.
Right.
I just think.
Well, if a board member anytime has something specific that they hear from the community, that they think a lot of community members want to know the answer, please call Chris and let him know. You know, I mean, I think that's the best thing to do. And then if it's something that's a board issue, then we can bring it to the board as a board issue. But if it's something that you hear that you think the community should know, then let Chris know. Okay. Something specific. Is that okay with the board? Board agree?
Is that okay with Chris?
No.
I think I need examples of the past, because my gut tells me they were very narrow, specific issues to an individual smoker. And therefore, when you analyze if it's a small group, does everyone need to know or not, is the challenge.
Right, right.
So, and if it's only to one building or one department, that's even more narrow. So I think it just depends on the topic.
Okay, so let me ask you this, does each school have its own Facebook? So if it's something that happens at just ACES, then if those parents like the ACES page, then they're going to get that information.
Correct. And we're getting better at the building pages. I'm not saying we're as proficient as the district, I'm not comparing, but we tend to do a lot more of the board work. Like, from this meeting, we will go through what's most important and put things out, because we're communicating the governance of the board.
Right.
If it's a complaint or a concern that's not related to the governance of the board, it would possibly go to a building to
Okay.
resolve with them.
Okay.
If it's personnel, obviously no, but if it's related to the whole middle school, then they would send something out related to that if needed.
Okay,
We haven't gotten that far yet with some of our social media outreach.
okay,
It's mostly district office.
okay. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Any other
Actually, I'm sorry, I do have another question. With the new system, Chris, how,
You mean the Sapphire?
yeah, with the new system, like, I know some people are getting like text messages, how do you sign up for that? And
I
like,
think it's an opt-in, like it won't communicate to a text message unless you've chosen, I believe, I'm looking at Lori,
how do
because
you
she might
do
not
it
know.
though? Like, how do you
Because
sign up?
email, you don't have to opt in, but text message, because of regulations at the FCC, you have to say, yes, I want to get a text message. So I don't know if that was when you put your information in, or did your emergency card, or if it's something when you do the account.
That's what I was just
I
wondering,
can't
people are
answer that.
asking me that, I don't know how to tell them, like, cause they're like, well, how do you, I'm like, I don't know, I don't have it, so if that's a feature that's
It's-
offered,
It's a new feature, we didn't have texting before, now there's an
that would
option.
be great, so if we could just know how that's done.
Any other business to be brought before the board? Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. Discussion. We are adjourned.